Buddy, my name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. I'm pleased to have on Leigh Barone, the Masuk softball coach, whose team is in the semifinals, playing against East Haven, who a lot of people could say upset Waterford. I think it's an upset, but we're here to talk about the Masuk softball program. Coach Barone, it's a pleasure to be able to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me.
First and foremost, before we talk about it, softball, which we could talk about forever, how was your family during what is the tail end, I think we could say, of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yeah, we're doing okay. Our whole family, my household all had it.
Oh boy.
So in December. So we're just happy that it's starting to come to an end.
Well, I hope everybody stays healthy and
Yes.
hopefully nobody gets it again. Please.
Yeah.
Let's not have that.
I don't want to be there.
I don't blame you. But something on a more positive note, this
Yes.
Masuk program, and I've been following it ever since I had on the second baseman Welch on my podcast, and
Yes.
she was fantastic. I mean, I didn't even know her. I think it was her mom told me that she loves the movie Moneyball. She loves what Billy Bean did, and she's a big mathematical wizard. And I messaged her back, and it was great to be able to have her on. She said that she wants to be, she wants to run her, her own baseball team. And I was like,
Yeah.
she didn't even tell me that.
Yeah. Her dad is actually the head of the math department in Monroe.
That explains it.
Explains a lot. She's a big math person.
Well, there you go. But seriously, after having her on, I really followed the program throughout the remainder of the season and through this, state tournament in Class L.
Yeah.
And I've been really impressed by it. So I kind of just want to talk about the regular season first. Going into the season, with all that happened as far as losing last year and with the kind of the quickness of which the season came, how did you and the team kind of go about it going into the regular season?
So this year we had two returning players, and that's Katie Welch and JC Haller, second baseman and shortstop. So we definitely knew that we had a young team. And especially with missing last year, it was hard because there would have been a lot of players that would have played varsity last year, but didn't get that opportunity without the season happening. We have a junior in left, a freshman in center, junior in right, a sophomore at first, senior middle infield, and a senior at left or at third. And then we have a sophomore catcher and junior pitcher. So we are young. And only those two players that were there we had four players that were there for the 2019 season. So they're young, and I'm just really proud of what they have accomplished at such a young age and with not a lot of playing time together.
A young team that's 19-0 wins
Yes.
the SWC, like that. Like, just saying that, it's so scary for teams going forward, because it's like basically this whole team is coming back, a potential state championship team. Now, I know you still have to play against East Haven and such, but there's so much that you have to and like going into this season, did you even, like, knowing the players that you had coming back, and because of all the new talent that you had, did you even think that this was a possibility?
I did, because I knew a lot of the players that had been in the program prior to this, and I knew the potential that they had, and a lot of them worked so hard in the off season, and that hard work definitely has paid off for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, again, I just go back to the interview I had with Welch, and when she was telling me about how young the team was, and just seeing how, and I guess the question I have for you is because knowing a young team, there's a lot of highs, there's a lot of highs, and then there's a lot of lows. But it seems like this Masuk team did not have a lot of lows. I mean, am I wrong?
No, I mean, the biggest thing that I was impressed with was the SWC championship game. We were down 0-1 in the bottom of the sixth inning, and I just saw them really fight to get that one run. And they knew exactly what they had to do. They went in and they said, okay, we need at least one right now. Then we got to go play D, and then we can get the second with being the home team. So that was the moment where I knew that they were capable of anything. And I always knew, but at this point, they just demonstrated that. And that was the first time we had really been down late in a game. So it was big.
You think too, because of the likes of the pitcher that was in the circle at that time, and because of how good she was. I mean, I think she was one of the top pitchers in the state. I think if you look at a lot of her numbers.
Yeah, Judy.
Yep. Do you
Yep.
think because of who the pitcher was, being Judy and such, do you think that kind of gave you more confidence going forward? I understand it was a young pitcher, but still dominant stuff from the circle. So
Yeah.
going forward in the state tournament, when you're seeing the best of the best and you saw
Yeah.
what you were able to do you feel like that gave you confidence going into the tournament?
I think that definitely gave us confidence too, just to know that we can come back, especially against that dominating pitching.
Now, what game in particular? I know you talked about the championship game in the SWC. Was there a game in the regular season where you felt like things? Because obviously, with the amount of, I mean, there was a bunch of games where it was like 4 touchdowns and a field goal. Like it was just unmatched. Seriously,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
disrespect to the other teams, just the talent
Yeah.
level sways on the Masuk side heavily.
Yeah.
But was there a game during the regular season where you felt like this is where like we're either peaking at the right time or this is where we want to be now, we just have to stay there?
We had two really good regular season games. One again was against Notre Dame, where
Mhm.
we won same score as the SWC championship, 2-1.
Mhm.
And then another game was against Newtown under the lights, and we beat them 1-0. And it was just a huge team effort. And I think we definitely realized our potential there and realized, with dominating pitching, it could just be that one run that we need. So,
Okay. I mean, again, like we've been talking about, I know you and I were talking about as far as on the pitching side with the World Series, Garcia,
yeah.
Fouts from Alabama, who just threw a
Oh,
perfect game.
insane.
Congratulations to her.
Yeah.
Your pitcher that you have, talk about her. Just, I haven't had the ability to have her on the podcast, and I
Yeah.
apologize. But just
No worries.
like, just tell me about, because I've seen a lot of pitchers throughout my years in the circle doing
Yeah.
Trinity games, doing Wesleyan games for the NESCAC. There's not a lot of pitchers I've seen in the circle like her. So just can you talk about kind of just what makes her so special?
Oh, a lot of things.
So
uh,
where to start, right?
I know, but I also don't want to give too much away.
That's true.
Kat Gallant, she was on the varsity team as a freshman, and it's crazy to think that she didn't pitch much that year because we had two other pitchers. If we had a season last year, she would have gotten time on the mound, and I think people would have definitely known who she was in the high school world. She just works so hard. She's got great speed, great movement, and she's a pitcher. She knows exactly what to throw batters, and she'll study them. And she's just pitching wise and hitting wise. I think she has 41 hits this season, so she's a force at the plate as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you talk about the fact that she studies hitters. How,
yeah.
with so few games being, at least in the early part of the season, because of the lack of fans, video, and so on, how was she able to prepare for her next start in the circle because of that?
I mean, especially with playing a lot of the SWC teams multiple times, we would look back into the book.
Mm-hmm.
She would chart pitches from what she threw last game against them. And then she would, like, against Notre Dame, she was ready. She knew exactly what to throw which players.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that makes her mentally prepared as well. And if people get on base, she doesn't get flustered at all. So she's
She
just,
charts too, right? Now you said
yeah.
that she tracks. So does she have? And I've talked to various pitchers who could tell me what happened when they were 14 when they faced an AAU team from Texas. And I'm
Yeah.
sitting there like, how do you remember that? Is she kind of like that pitcher where she can maybe not go back to when she was that young, but just
Yeah.
kind of go back to be like, I know what the number 2 hitter did for X team, and this is how I pitched. Like, is she like that?
She is. And our catcher is like that too. They have that kind of relationship where they talk about it before the game.
Mm-hmm.
And when we know that we're going to see teams again, I spend time with them after the innings talking about, okay, what did they hit? what did they struggle a little bit more with, and then we just make sure to note that for the next time we see them.
Now, is that kind of how, because I feel like the way the catcher and the pitcher are, I feel like those are kind of like, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, but I feel like the pitcher and the catcher are kind of like the leaders of the team because
Yeah.
they're touching the ball more than anyone. Baseball, softball, you name it, right?
Yeah.
So you feel like their attention to detail and the high expectations that they have for themselves kind of festered in a positive way for the rest of the team because now if they don't do what the other ones are doing, then it's like, why are we not reaching the same expectations?
They do. They're both huge leaders on our team. And, Cat's one of those pitchers that people are going to struggle to score runs against. So if we can just find a way to get those, maybe even that one run or those couple runs just to give her a little bit more comfort, then that's what we'll do.
And speaking of the run side, and again, I go back to because, and I tweeted this out a couple days ago. Masuk is, in my opinion, a dangerous team because they can do like you and the rest of the team can do multiple things. You can run the bases well, you
Yeah.
bunt well, you could score runs in bunches, but you also don't need to score like teams that have to score 15 runs because they're like no, you have the pitching, you have the defense.
Yeah.
So how have like is that something that is preached amongst the program to be more than just a one-dimensional team, a la like the Yankees, where if you don't hit a home run, you lose every game?
Yeah. I mean, we know with Cat on the mound, you have to have the offense to score those couple of runs. And we definitely do. I mean, getting into the semifinals, we know that people are going to start putting the ball in play. So you have to have the solid defense to make the plays, and we do. Our defense is definitely solid. Offensively, we just have to scrap up those couple runs, and even against really good pitching, I know that we're capable of doing so.
Now, looking at the opponent that you have in East Haven, who just beat Waterford, and a very well played game. I think it went 9 innings, if I recall.
9 innings, 1-0.
We talk about the College World Series for softball.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the remnants, the energy and such.
Yeah.
What happened with that? Is there a team that you could think of that kind of reminds you that you played during the regular season of East Haven by any chance, or are they just kind of a different breed?
I mean, I would compare Newtown and Notre Dame to an East Haven. I think, the biggest thing about East Haven is we know they have the two good pitchers in Heafy and Bishop. And, I don't know which one he's going to throw. Is he going to throw both? Split game? Who knows? But we just have to be prepared for anything. And I know that they'll be aggressive on the bases, good coaching. They have a great offense. We saw them 2 years ago in the state championship, and I know that their 1 through 9 can potentially put the ball in play and do damage. So we just got to be ready defensively.
And going into the game, which will be played on Tuesday, I think the weather's supposed to be nice. And you said the game's at 3:30, correct?
3:30, yeah. Hopefully the thunderstorms will hold off.
Yeah, let's hope. Let's push
Yeah.
it away for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not weather like today where it was 100 degrees, but maybe like 70.
Yeah, let's take an in between.
Yeah, 75 works.
Yeah.
But how has the practice been kind of leading up? I know it's only Sunday, but what's without giving up too much, what have the conversations been like with the players? What has been the focus? Is there anything that you can talk about, give away by any chance?
We're really focusing on that defense because we know that the good hitting team is going to put the ball in play. And we're really focusing on being disciplined at the plate. Their pitching is going to be good, so we got to be ready. And, especially with the rise, lay off the high ball. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's really what we've been working on without giving too much away.
Well, yeah, exactly. You don't want to do too much because I'm having East Haven on coach in a little bit. And then I'm sure you're going to watch his, you're going to watch.
Yeah.
It's going to be vice versa.
Go back and forth. Yes.
Exactly. But no, I think it's great to be able to see what Masuk has done. And it's again, I go back to the fact that it just seems like no matter what kind of game is being played, if it's an offensive game, you're good. If it's defense, you're good. You want pitch, good. And it just seems like no matter what, you and the rest of the team are going to bring your A game, and I expect nothing less.
Yeah, and we know we have to bring our A game, especially when it comes down to semifinals. You're always going to see good teams, so you have to be ready.
Do you think though too, just thinking about the fact of all the big games that you played and just all, having the fans there and such, do you think because they are so used to playing with a big crowd that maybe that because a lot of young teams, if they're not used to the crowd and getting, heckled and such, especially now with
Yeah,
coming back,
yeah,
sometimes it can get to them and it starts to affect their play. But do you
yeah.
think because Masuk has had the amount of success and just that they're so used to that attention that maybe it's not going to affect them as much now with it being in the semifinals?
Yeah, I mean, there were a ton of fans at the SWC championship, especially both sides. And I think that, them proving to me, even after Notre Dame going up, that it's never over. Like a game is never over until the end of the seventh inning. I think that really proved that they can handle the pressure. And I think, sometimes I think it also fires them up a little bit more. So hopefully that's what it does.
Now, what do you mean by fires them up? Because what happens if they're being heckled in a bad way? You think that fires them up even more?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is
Yeah.
there one player in particular who's kind of getting the fire going, who's starting the fire?
I mean, they do it offensively. One person gets on base, then it just keeps going. It's like a domino effect. So I think that, they take it out on the ball.
Oh, yeah. I mean, some of the
Yeah.
scores I've seen, it was like 20, 50. Yeah, I
Yeah.
could tell. I could tell that.
Yeah.
But, Coach, I really appreciate you coming on. It was great to be able to have you on. I just have one more question, real quick, about the
Sure.
game on Tuesday. Um, East Haven, we know what they can do. Obviously, what happened with Waterford and such. Without giving too much, is there, if you could fast forward to a day after, regardless of the outcome, okay, win or lose, what do you expect that you want your team to be able to do? Play, basically, what I'm saying is play Massac softball. What is that?
Um, Best defense and definitely limiting strikeouts, putting the ball in play and making things happen.
All right, Coach,
Yeah.
thanks so much for being able to come on. I really do appreciate it. Best of luck on Tuesday, and
Thank you.
let me know how it goes because I wish I could be there.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. That'll wrap
All
things up
right.
in Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. Mary CT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm my journey to find them all. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and be well.